When you look back on your 20s, what is the most important life lesson that you've learned?
That the life is longer than turning 30 for me.
Yeah.
But the biggest differences are that being a CEO, you are focused on that and the product that you do with your team. Being a single person delegation leader in a big house as the European Parliament, I somehow have to be very horizontal thinking and be prepared also on questions that I really don't have a clue about.
Which characteristic has been very important to you?
Curiosity. If I taste something or smell something, I want to taste it.
Which quote do you live by?
If you stop doing what you do right now, what will the world then miss?
Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Female Empowerment Podcast. Our guest today is a member of Parliament, Pernille Weiss, and she's not only an expert in politics and businesses, but also in time management. Trained as a nurse, she specialized in forensic nursing. Afterwards, she got a master's degree at the Copenhagen Business School in innovation and leadership. And then she founded a company called Archimed.
First question, as I've mentioned, your career is very impressive, and to achieve your goals, which characteristic has been very important to you?
Curiosity.
Okay.
And that if I taste something or smell something, I want to taste it. When I can think that something is possible, then I really have to try to see if it can also be reality.
Yeah.
So curiosity.
Curiosity is very important. What are the biggest differences in the daily life as a CEO and MEP?
The differences?
Yes.
Oh, actually there are many similarities.
Okay.
Because being a CEO of your own little entrepreneurship is almost the same as being an MEP of a single person delegation, because you have so many tasks to do. There is daily maintenance of a little team, and also developing strategies on where to take the voters and bring value to what they thought was a good idea when voting for me.
Yeah.
But the biggest differences are that being a CEO, you are focused on that.
Yeah.
And the product that you do with your team. Being a single person delegation leader in a big house as the European Parliament, I somehow have to be very horizontal thinking and be prepared also on questions that I really don't have a clue about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Back to your business and your company. When you launch a business, what is most important? What would you say from your experience?
To have a professional empathy, meaning that you really have to be able to understand the customer,
Okay.
and the context of the customer, and echo that when you design the solution for he or she.
Yeah.
So empathy, I would say, and not in this modern way of addressing that you somehow do understand the needs of the customer, but that you are really a professional that also can understand what can bring better solutions forward to the customer, and that is where you also allow yourself to be frank and very precise, addressing what does the customer actually need from your services or from other services.
Yeah.
So that's also a part of I think, something we could develop more in Europe, that we allow each other to not always holster us in cotton pads and be very political correct in saying, I think you should do X, Y, Z. Be a little bit more bold and then say, okay, based on my professional competences and experience, I advise you to do this.
Yeah.
Not because I like you, but because I have a profession that tells me this you could actually bring some value to the table.
Boldness, I like it.
Yeah.
When you look back on your 20s, what is the most important life lesson that you've learned?
That the life is longer than turning 30. I was so much in a hurry when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So what I understood the last 5 years since turning 50 is that the life actually continues, and that life opportunities that you fear to miss out of in the 20s, they return to you also in the 40s and the 50s.
Oh. Very fascinating. How do you master time management with a tight schedule?
With a schedule. I mean,
Okay.
I
so you write your task?
I write everything into my Outlook.
Okay.
And that is how I organize myself. I'm very good at using my phone and my apps. And being formerly a mother of 3 children and having ex-husbands who also had a business career, I learned from the very beginning of my life to be very time efficient. I mean, that's also what you learn from being a nurse, and my mother was a nurse and my grandmother was a nurse, so it kind of runs in the family that you are pretty effective in how to use your time.
To another topic now on networking. It's very important as an MEP as well, and also as a CEO. Which advice do you have for women on networking?
Be interested in other people. The best encounters in networking that I have experienced is when I met someone who really was truly interested in and curious in my business model, in my product, in my world, in my experience, and be aware of not using every opportunity to tell about you and what you do and what you can offer. But nurture this curiosity of the other one by asking questions to the one you're standing in front, and be focused. I mean, it came to me in the mid-30s, late 30s, that I got sudden deafness. So I can only hear with my left ear, and that was the end of being talkative to everybody at once. I can only speak to one at a time, and that really was good for my personal business plan, because I was not just compulsory cacophoning around in networking. I only do one conversation
and you focus
at a time.
completely on that conversation.
Yeah.
You know what stayed with me from what you said is to be bold, be curious, and I think it leads to empathy as well, these two characteristics. Okay, last questions before we go over to the informal part where we wanted to get to know your personality a bit better. What advice do you have for women who want to pursue a political career?
Be aware that you cannot change the political party into something that you can say yes to everything that is in the political programs. You have to embrace that being a part of politics, being a part of a political group, is also to embrace that you can disagree, but also that being not able to agree on everything is also the treasure of then finding innovative solutions. Because sometimes we have to find common ground, we have to compromise. So this, I think, and that's what really calls women into politics, because somehow we are not that bold. We also know the value of pragmatism. I mean, hey, we have to move on. And use that as a woman in politics. That's really, really needed. And also, again, empathy. Say what is needed to be said, and hold the room. Also, when the room is becoming full of sometimes drama and fights, because men in politics can be drama queens from time to time. Eventually that will also pass.
I hope so. Okay, thank you very much. Now we go over to the part where we want to get to know your personality a bit better. I have prepared some questions in the motto of fast question and answer. What qualities do you value in your friends?
Patience and loyalty.
Okay. How do you personally define success?
That you have a good gut feeling by the end of the day, that you didn't waste the time that you were given by that day.
Okay. After a stressful day or week, what's the best way for you to relax?
Reading Danish poetry.
Yeah?
Yep.
Can you recommend an author?
Søren Ulrik Thomsen,
Okay.
Henrik Nordbrandt, and of course, read as a woman, Cand.scient. It
Okay.
cannot be underlined enough, really.
Okay.
She's a treasure also when it comes to women empowerment.
Thank you for your suggestion. Which quote do you live by?
I learned a quote when I took my master degree in innovation and leadership, and that is a question, and I share it with as many people that I can.
That's good.
And you can use it as an individual, as a couple, as a company, as a group, whatever. And the question goes: if you stop doing what you do right now, what will the world then miss?
That's a good one. I'll write it down for myself. This is quite a different question. Which Hogwarts house do you belong to?
Yeah, I had to test that because I was a very bad mother sneaking out of the task of reading up from Harry Potter books. I fell asleep when we went to the cinema to see the movies. But I found out that I'm a Gryffindor.
Gryffindor?
Yep.
Ah, I'm a Hufflepuff.
Ah,
yes.
Congratulations.
Which video game do you play?
I don't play.
You don't play?
No.
Me neither, but some people do, so
yeah,
I had to
do.
ask.
And sometimes I envy because I see in the plane how some colleagues are sitting with something that is very, very,
They're quite focused on that task.
Focused on something.
They can forget everything else.
Exactly. It's a big delete button, but I don't have that.
Yeah,
I
need. Same here. How do you deal with procrastination?
Then I really have to tell you that as a Dane, there are still some words that I don't understand the meaning of.
No, don't worry. Procrastination means that you have a task to do, but you don't want to do that. Yes.
So we call it overspringshandling.
Oh, okay.
Jump over solutions. I welcome them when they are there because they are needed for the body to do, for the mind to get a rest, or maybe for the mind to focus. So that's when I iron, or I go to the terrace and do the plants, or I cook, bake some bread. So I like these tasks of postponement because they're good. Also messages to yourself that now you need to do something else to make what needs a break from your overthinking. Yeah. To do its work alone. So
that's true. Which book can you read over and over again?
The Bible.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's simply as that. And then also the Works of Love by Søren Kierkegaard.
Okay,
The Danish philosopher and theologist. And I recommend that book to everybody having troubles in relationships, especially when you are in that phase where you text the other one. It can also be a good friend where you have a conflict. And then you start to text and start a drama on texting. Read a chapter of Søren Kierkegaard. It takes many hours to get through it, and then you learn a little bit more about the works of love and how not always to be over in the other one and asking or the other one to change his way or her way of thinking and doing.
That's very important.
Yep.
We always think our opinion is best,
True.
Last question. What's the best way for you to start your week?
To start my week?
Yes.
After a good weekend where I could put my schedule to the side and enjoy art. I really like to go in the theater.
Yeah.
I have a German partner, and he doesn't understand Danish yet. So I still do a lot of going in the theater alone, seeing good old classic and also very modern abstract plays, and I really love it.
It is amazing, right?
If I have such a weekend in my backpack, then whatever comes in the week, I can do.
Thank you very much.